Hello and welcome back to Tales Flicks, where we share the most unbelievable real-life stories you'll ever hear. Today's story is a masterclass in intuition, betrayal, and protecting what's yours when you realize the person sleeping next to you has a secret, multi-million-dollar agenda. It's a wild ride about a husband who smelled a trap just in time to turn the tables completely. Before we dive in, let us know you're here with us. Before we start, tell us where you're watching from. We love seeing our Tales Flicks family from all over the world. Now, let's get into the story. Hello, everyone. I've been a long-time lurker on forums like this, reading other people's stories and thinking I'd never have one of my own to tell. But life has a funny way of throwing curveballs, and I've been carrying this one around for months. It's time I finally let it out. Let me be clear, I've never been a paranoid person. I don't jump to conclusions, and I always try to see the best in people. My wife, let's call her Chloe, and I had been together for 6 years, married for 4 of them. To me, our foundation was rock solid. We had our ups and downs, like any couple, but nothing ever screamed trouble in paradise. For most of our time together, we were that couple. The one friends looked at as the benchmark for a healthy relationship. Our life together felt effortless. We had a rhythm that just worked, filled with stupid inside jokes and long debates over what movie to watch. I built a successful tech company from the ground up, and after selling it a few years ago for a life-changing amount, well over $100 million, I thought we had it made. I could give her anything she ever wanted, and for a while, it seemed like all she wanted was us. It felt like we had cracked the code to love and life. That's why what happened next didn't just surprise me. It felt like a wrecking ball demolishing everything I thought I knew. The change started subtly, about 6 months ago. At first, it was just tiny details, the kind of things you'd easily miss if you weren't paying close attention. Chloe started carrying her phone everywhere. And I mean everywhere. To the kitchen to grab a glass of water, to the laundry room to fold clothes. Before this, her phone would lie on the coffee table for hours, completely forgotten. One day, I joked, "What's going on? Are you running a secret spy agency from your phone now?" She laughed it off, a little too quickly. "No, just work. They've been emailing me constantly." It sounded plausible, so I let it go. But a few days later, she put a new, complex password on it. That was a first. When I casually asked why, she gave me a vague answer about security concerns and hackers. I didn't push it. I didn't want to be the suspicious husband, but a small alarm bell started ringing in the back of my mind. It didn't stop there. She started taking her calls in other rooms. Her phone would ring, and she'd say, "Oh, let me just grab this real quick," before disappearing onto the porch or into our bedroom, closing the door behind her. If I asked who called, the answer was always the same, just a friend from work. Then came another new habit. She always kept her phone face down on the table. It was one of those blink-and-you'll-miss-it actions, but it stuck with me. The distance wasn't just about the phone, though. It was emotional. Conversations that used to flow for hours now felt like pulling teeth. If I brought up our future, where we should go for our anniversary, or if we should look at a new vacation property, she'd give a non-committal nod and say, "Yeah, we'll see," before changing the subject. The moment it all clicked into place for me was on a random Wednesday afternoon. She told me she was meeting a friend for coffee after work. Nothing strange about that. By pure coincidence, I was running errands in the same part of town and thought I'd surprise her. I imagined it would be a cute, spontaneous moment. When I got to the cafe, however, she wasn't with her friend. She was standing outside, pacing back and forth with her phone pressed to her ear. I stayed in my car, a gut feeling telling me to wait. Something about her tone was serious, almost clinical. I couldn't hear everything, but I caught phrases that made my stomach sink into a cold knot. "It's almost ready," she said, her voice low. And then, a whole new chapter, starting fresh soon. It didn't sound like she was talking about a work project. It sounded bigger, like something she had been meticulously planning. When she came home later, I tried to sound casual and asked how her coffee date went. She launched into a detailed, fabricated story about her friend complaining about a boyfriend. She lied right to my face without even flinching. A few days later, she dropped the first major bombshell. We were watching TV when she turned to me and said, "You know, with all your investments and accounts, I was thinking, we should probably consolidate all our financial information. You know, passwords, account numbers, documents, just in case of an emergency." I just stared at her. "What do you mean?" I asked. She shrugged, avoiding my eyes. "I just think we should have everything in one place. It's just smart planning." "What kind of emergencies are you thinking about?" I asked, trying to keep my voice level. "I don't know, just life stuff," she replied vaguely. "What if something happens to one of us? Or if we need to make a big financial decision quickly?" On the surface, her argument made sense. But her delivery was too polished, too rehearsed. It felt like she had been waiting for the perfect moment to bring it up. The alarms in my head were now blaring. Why this sudden urgency to organize our finances, especially when she'd always been happy to let me handle the complex portfolio I'd built? That night, her words echoed in my mind. Was I overthinking this? But then I remembered the secret phone calls, the conversation I overheard outside the cafe, and the emotional distance. It was all starting to paint a very ugly picture. She brought it up again a few days later. "Have you thought more about organizing our bank stuff?" she asked while scrolling through her phone. "Like, do you know where all the account details are?" I put down the knife I was using to make a sandwich and turned to face her. "Okay, what's really going on, Chloe? You keep bringing up our finances. Is there something you need to tell me?" She looked up, startled that I was pushing back. "No, nothing's wrong," she said quickly. "I just think it's important. For emergencies." Her evasiveness was my confirmation. This wasn't a casual suggestion anymore. It felt like she was trying to get her hands on something. The next day, I contacted my old college friend, who happens to be a sharp corporate lawyer. I laid out the whole situation, trying not to sound like a conspiracy theorist. He listened patiently and then said, "Look, I'm not saying she's definitely up to something. But in your position, with your net worth, you can't afford to be naive. If you're worried about protecting your assets, the time to do it is now. Better to be safe than sorry." He walked me through the steps I could take. Simple, legal procedures to ensure my finances were secure if the worst were to happen. Making that call felt like crossing a line. I was preparing for a war I wasn't even sure was coming. But the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. If she was planning something, I needed to protect the life I had built. That night, while she was out, I sat at my desk, my hand shaking as I logged into my financial accounts. Bank statements, investment portfolios, property deeds. Each document felt like a testament to a life we had built together, and now I was dismantling it. A voice in my head kept reminding me, "This is about survival, not sabotage." I called my mother. "Mom, I need your help," I said, keeping the details vague. "I need you to hold on to some things for me for a while. It's just a precaution, something I need to do to protect myself." There was a long pause on the other end. "Are you okay, honey?" she asked, her voice laced with concern. "Yeah, I'm fine," I lied. "Just being careful." "Of course, sweetheart. Whatever you need." Hanging up, I felt a strange mix of shame and relief. I hated involving her, but knowing I had someone in my corner gave me a small piece of solid ground in a world that was quickly turning to quicksand. By the time Chloe got home, the process was already in motion. Over the next 48 hours, I moved the majority of my assets, cash, stocks, properties, my entire investment portfolio, into an irrevocable trust in my mother's name. I left enough in our joint account to keep up appearances, but the rest, the $100 million fortune, was locked down tight. Chloe didn't notice a thing. She walked in, kissed my cheek, and asked if I wanted to watch a movie. On the outside, I was calm, but inside, I was a wreck. A part of me felt like I had betrayed her, but a bigger part of me felt like I was finally taking back control. 2 weeks passed in a strange, tense normality. In fact, Chloe became more loving, almost like her old self. She started conversations, she was affectionate, and she completely stopped mentioning our finances. For a moment, I wondered if I had imagined everything. Maybe this was all just a massive overreaction. Then, one Friday night, she sat me down on the couch, turned off the TV, and said the 5 words I had been dreading: "We need to talk." My stomach dropped. I knew what was coming. "I think we should get a divorce," she said. Her voice was so calm, so practiced, it was chilling. It wasn't angry or sad. It was as if she were telling me we were out of milk. She launched into her reasons: needing space, finding herself, losing her identity in our marriage. It was a textbook breakup speech. But then, she said something that revealed her true motive. "You know, I've made a lot of sacrifices for you over the years, and I don't think you truly appreciate them. I deserve more. I deserve more." It wasn't about her being unhappy. It was about her feeling entitled. As if I owed her. She framed it like she was the victim, simply claiming what was rightfully hers. That's when she mentioned a friend who had been helping her see things more clearly. It wasn't a casual comment. It was clear someone had been coaching her, convincing her that leaving me was a strategy. The divorce papers arrived the following Monday. They weren't just asking for a separation. They were a declaration of war. She wanted half of everything: the house, my savings, my investments, the cars. She was demanding half of an estate valued at over $100 million, plus an outrageous amount of spousal support. It was a transparent cash grab. Her aggression confirmed my suspicions. Someone else was pulling the strings. I started digging. I went through her social media and found a name that kept popping up: Julian. He was a slick, 30-something wealth management guru whose profile was full of motivational quotes about claiming your worth. I found a photo of him at the same cafe where I'd seen Chloe, posted on the exact same day. My gut churned. This was the friend. I needed more proof. I reached out to a mutual friend, Ben. At first, he was hesitant, but after I pressed him, he caved. A few days later, he messaged me. "I have something you need to see." He showed me a series of text messages between Chloe and Julian. A friend of his knew Julian and had become concerned, taking screenshots when Julian started bragging about helping a client secure her future. The texts were a smoking gun. One from Chloe read, "Once the settlement is done, we'll have everything we need. I just need him to agree." Julian's reply was coaching her: "Don't back down. Make him feel guilty. He owes you this. We'll start our new life as soon as you have the money." It was all there. A cold, calculated plan to bleed me dry. The first mediation session was tense. Her lawyer arrived with a binder thick enough to be a phone book, confidently listing her demands. I sat there silently, waiting. When it was our turn, my lawyer simply handed a stack of documents across the table. "Before we proceed," he said calmly, "I think everyone should review these." Her lawyer's confident smirk vanished as he read. His brow furrowed. "What is this?" he asked, looking up in confusion. "Those documents," my lawyer explained, "show the legal transfer of all major assets into an irrevocable trust under my client's mother's name. The transfers were completed several weeks before the divorce filing." The room went dead silent. Chloe snatched the papers, her face turning from confusion to pale shock, and finally to crimson rage. "This can't be real," she stammered, staring at the notarized signatures. She then turned to me, her eyes blazing. "You planned this. You knew I was going to file, and you set this up to screw me over." I didn't say a word. I just let her connect the dots. Her unbelievable plan had just collided with my unbreakable defense. The mediation ended with her lawyer muttering something about rethinking their strategy, but we all knew it was over. They had nothing. As we left, she cornered me in the hallway. "This isn't over," she hissed, her voice a mix of fury and desperation. "You are going to regret this." I finally looked her in the eye. "I already regret trusting you, Chloe. That's the only regret I have." After that, she went into a complete meltdown. The calls and texts were endless, shifting from tearful apologies to furious accusations. When that didn't work, She started telling mutual friends that the entire divorce was an elaborate prank that I had taken too far. But her story fell apart as the text messages between her and Julian began to circulate. Her social circle evaporated overnight. People who had offered her sympathy now saw her for what she was. Even her closest friends distanced themselves. As for Julian, he vanished the moment it became clear there would be no $100 million payday. The divorce was finalized quietly. She walked away with her personal belongings and nothing else. Her lawyer dismissed her claim once he realized there was no legal ground to stand on. The calls from her stopped eventually. The last voicemail she left was quiet and defeated. "Can we just talk? Please. I know I made a mistake." I never responded. As for me, I got the house, my savings, and my peace of mind back. Life feels like it's mine again. The betrayal was deep, but it taught me a valuable lesson about trust and self-preservation. Chloe is now just a closed chapter in my past, and the rest of the book is mine to write. An absolutely incredible story of foresight and self-protection. He saw the storm coming and built a fortress just in time. Now we want to hear from you. Who do you think was wrong here, him or her? And for anyone who has been through it, divorce can change everything. What's the biggest lesson it taught you? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Thank you for watching Tales Flicks. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell, and we'll see you in the next story.